Hello, and welcome to the Sex Within Marriage podcast. My name is JD, and I blog over at uncoveringintimacy.com. We're well into January, so it's a new month and a new year, but we still have a few things to tidy up from last year. One of them is the anonymous questions that we received in December from our Have a Question page. Before we get through them, I want to let you know about a new product that we have in our shop. I had a reader ask if our Truth or Dare game was available as a printable. Many years ago, I built a free web-based version of it, which you can find in the show notes, and frankly, it was just a fun project to brush up on my jQuery programming skills. It's not the best interface, sometimes it breaks and I don't realize it, and if you refresh the page, then your session is lost and you have to start over, and that's why it was free. But this reader wanted to know if he could buy a printable version, one that doesn't lose your spot when you hit the wrong button while both of you are getting all worked up and ready to go. Plus, lube and laptop's not a great mix, so I took some time and built it this December. And it's been in the shop for a couple of weeks actually, but I haven't told anyone about it other than the reader who asked for it. Of course, a few people have already found it and have been enjoying it. So if you liked our online version, or if you just want to try the printable one, you can grab it. I'll link to it in the show notes as well. To our 59 supporters who give $5 or more a month, check your email. You got it for free. And if you have been thinking about joining our forum as a supporter, now is a great time, as all new $5 a month and more supporters get the printable Truth or Dare game for free this month. All right, with that out of the way, let's get on to our questions. So question number one is, what do you do when you are sitting on his face and your legs start shaking? And then she said, just to clarify, while sitting on his face, he's eating you up. So it depends on why your legs are shaking. Some people's legs shake because they get really aroused. If that's the case, then enjoy it. If it's because you have a strain on your legs, then you should probably either shift position somehow so that won't cause as much strain, or change positions or change activities. Not sure what else to say. It wasn't much to go on there. So, question number 2. Hi, Jay. My wife and I were separated for a year. We did date other people during this time and lived apart. The separation came about as a result of my infidelity. We are now living together again. At the time, we had been married for 24 years. What I have observed are changes in my wife, such as waxing pubic hair, which previously she looked at the suggestion with disdain. She also now listens to music, which a year ago she wouldn't have. The separation came as a result of a very poor sex life. I've been using Viagra or Cialis for a few years, thus total spontaneity is usually not possible, yet my wife will act as if it should be. Yes, she is aware. I choose to love my wife, however, I do feel that she seems to destroy me on all levels, even though she says she loves me. What am I to do? All right, so for myself and a lot of our supporters in our forum, we felt that there was a lot of missing information here. For example, we're not sure at all what causes you to feel destroyed on all levels by her. Is it because she got interested in sex during your separation? Is it because she wants sex to be spontaneous and you can't be? Is she making condescending or humiliating remarks due to the erectile dysfunction? We don't know. So it makes it a little hard to give any advice because we're not sure of the situation. We did have some ideas, though. The first would be marriage counseling. That wasn't mentioned, but it seemed like you might need to work through some things. As for the erectile dysfunction, I'm assuming you've been checked out for that already, but you could also try daily doses of Cialis. They're a smaller dose intended to let you have sex more spontaneously. Other than that, we don't have a lot to go on here. Again, it's a longer paragraph, but not a whole lot of more information. Now, if you're listening to this and you have some ideas, head over to the site and you can put them in the comment section below the post. Question number 3 is it normal to feel more, quote unquote, drained after getting a blowjob than regular sex? If not, any tricks to get the same feeling after regular sex? I'm afraid I have no statistics on this. However, anecdotally, 2 of our supporters, one man and one woman, felt that oral sex gives far more intense orgasms, possibly due to the enhanced arousal. I've heard that from others as well. So yes, it seems to be normal, but perhaps not everyone's experience. And as for how to get the same feeling, more arousal seems to be the way to go. Question 4 is, what books or articles would you recommend about Christian approaches to birth control? I can imagine good arguments for or against, so I would like to read how Christians handle this issue. How did you and your wife decide what you would do/use? So the only article I know of off the top of my head about birth control is the one I wrote years ago, which I will link to. As for my wife and I, my wife went on birth control pills just before we got married. They did not agree with her. However, it took us a number of years to realize that. She thinks it's still the reason she has low sex drive, even though she's been off of them for a decade. It also gave her very strong mood swings. Some people don't have the same reaction, but quite a few seem to. I've had enough people tell me over the years that they've had the same or similar experience. So I would hesitate to suggest hormonal birth control. Like I said, it doesn't do that for everyone, but it seems to for enough people that I'm wary of them. Of course, I'm also individually biased against them because of our experiences. We tried condoms a few times. I don't think very often. Frankly, once she went off hormonal birth control pills, we started having kids, and we used the natural family planning method, tracking cycles and temperatures, etc., for quite a while, and ended up having 5 kids. And that might sound like a reason not to do that, but actually, we pretty much had them when we planned to, or at least the first 4. The last one, we weren't sure if we were done or not, so we weren't being too careful. And then he came along 5 years ago. While my wife was pregnant, I got a vasectomy. I spent quite a while thinking about that before deciding to do it. And so, yeah, that's our experience and our path. I certainly wouldn't consider myself an expert on it, nor would I necessarily suggest the path that we took. Going back, I definitely wouldn't have had my wife on the pill again. But hindsight is 20/20. The rest seems to have worked out all right. Question number 5. All right. This person asks, is asking for or desiring quote unquote cock worship out of bounds in a Christian marriage? All right. So the first problem here is the terminology, of course. As soon as you say worship and mention something other than God, you trigger a very strong thou shalt not vibe. I'm going to assume that you don't literally mean worship it as a god. So let's call it extreme penis appreciation and see where that goes. That still leaves us with some concerns. If you've been reading or listening to us for a while, then you know that we're pretty relationship focused. So then the question is, does this improve or detract from your relationship? Because there is a danger of being so focused on a body part or parts that the owner of those parts feels objectified. And if you're more interested in a part of them than in them as a person, then that's an issue. As I understand it, some women feel this way about the attention their breasts get, even from their husband. However, others feel very confident when that much appreciation is shown to a part of them. So I think it depends on the person in question. And then there's a question on where on the spectrum we're talking about in terms of appreciation, because this topic can go anywhere from I really like your penis to this definition from the Urban Dictionary, which is the act of turning into a quivering, wet idiot when presented with a penis in front of your face, which to me that feels like a bit much. Likewise, their list of activities range from fairly tame to perhaps a bit over the edge. They say this act includes drooling, lip smacking, kissing, fondling, stroking, touching, sucking, whining, begging with the mouth, feet, face, hands all over the penis. Personally, I think that appearing as a drooling idiot begging to let your feet touch their penis is a bit too far along on the humiliation line that I've mentioned in other posts. However, much of the rest of it just sounds like an enthusiastic handjob or blowjob, and I don't see anything wrong with that. All right. And number 6, these ones have been really quick this week. This person writes, I'm a 14-year-old male and I'm worried about my health and future. Last time I masturbated, brackets, I am ashamed, I saw blood in my sperm. I'm wondering if it's a sin to masturbate for medical reasons. All I want to know is if my sperm is healthy. I'm ashamed if I do it, but I want to know if it is healthy and ready to make a family in the future. Please tell me if masturbating for medical reasons is a sin. May God bless you. Okay, so you're not going to be able to tell if your sperm is healthy simply by masturbating. Go to a doctor if you're concerned. Blood in your semen, I think, is a good reason to get checked out. And I think that's all I'm going to say about that, because you're a minor and the laws about such things get very complicated when you have readers and listeners all over the world. And I don't know what they are exactly, so I'm just going to stop there. And those are all the questions I'm answering today. There are 2 more that came in that require a much longer answer, so I'm going to be writing and doing podcasts about them. In case you didn't know, these responses are available both as blog posts and podcast episodes. Sometimes people don't realize that we have a blog and a podcast, or vice versa. And if you're listening to this on a podcast, please consider leaving a rating and a review if you haven't already. They help others find us and to get help for their marriage. You can just click in the show notes for a link directly to leave a review. As I said, I'm working on the other 2 questions, so they should be out soon. If you have any thoughts or responses to any of these questions that you'd like to share, or you say, oh, I wish he had said this, or what about this thing, or if you have follow-up questions, then feel free to post them in the comments. And that's it. Stay tuned for the other 2 posts.